what made you choose real estate investing?
I was interested in real estate when I lived in Atlanta, Georgia. My coworker, we worked as food servers at the airport, so we wanted to get into real estate. So we attended a workshop, and it was something about how you can buy houses through banks. We bought the information, but we didn't use it. It was overwhelming. Nothing came of it.
Okay.
I met a guy who was into real estate, started talking about, and it reignited getting back into it. And so I joined the Springfield Landlord Association, and I found that through the newspaper.
Oh, really? Okay.
And then it just kind of took off from there.
Okay. And I've been to them type of events too, where it's like, it is overwhelming. It's like a big old box, a book, about $1,500 for this.
Yeah, this one was $800.
Yeah. And then we went half, and I went half with my guys.
I went half, we went half, we split it. He made prints and stuff. I didn't look at that stuff. It was like, what?
This is Miss Yvonne, as you all can see. I chose her because she's an awesome real estate investor. So let's go here. Let's start there first. She's a real estate investor, and she's an entrepreneur who chose real estate investing over corporate America. She does do some part-time work, and she works in a high school with high school students. She's a substitute teacher,
right?
And she works at another company that helps her build her real estate investing. That's how we're going to put that. So I just want to start off with Yvonne providing us a little information on, can you take us back to what made you choose real estate investing?
Well, actually, I was interested in real estate when I lived in Atlanta, Georgia.
Okay.
And we tried to break into it. Me and my coworker, we worked as food servers at the airport. So we wanted to get into real estate. So we attended a workshop, and it was something about how you can buy houses through banks.
Okay.
We bought the information, but we didn't use it. It was overwhelming, and nothing came of it.
Okay.
Just nothing came of it. I lost my house to foreclosure when I was in Atlanta.
Okay.
And then my mom passed away, so I came down here to take care of my father.
Okay.
And then I met a guy who was into real estate, and he started talking about, and it reignited getting back into it. So the question was, how did I get into it?
What got you into real estate investing?
Yeah, I was interested in it, so I joined the Springfield Landlord Association, and I found that through the newspaper.
Oh, really? Okay.
And then it just kind of took off from there.
Okay.
So, yeah.
So you were in Atlanta, and you ran across an event, and this event, and I've been to them type of events too, where it's like, it is overwhelming. It's like a big old box, a book, a book, and they make it seem like, now, I don't know when you did it, what year it was, but I did it when I first started. And it was like, let's see, I was probably about 24, 25. And so that was over 25 years ago. Let's say the booklet was like, about $1,500 for this.
Yeah, this one was $800.
Yeah. And then we went half, and I went half with my guys.
I went half, we went half, we split it. He made prints and stuff. I didn't look at that stuff. It was like, what?
And you know what? It was funny because when I moved from Chicago to Springfield, I still kept them booklets, all right? And I had bought property in Chicago, but I still kept that booklet. But I can tell you that booklet was never used.
Right.
I did not spend the time that I needed to learn I will say what they do. They really try to reel you in and make you think, oh, you're going to make some money and this is going to work.
That's exactly what happened.
Things like that.
To hype you up.
Yeah, they do. And you be like, okay, girl, so what you think? You think we should do this? It sound good, right?
Right.
And then you end up giving this sucker and give them your money.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely.
So I do understand that. So you went and you lost your home in Atlanta, and then you moved to Springfield to support your dad. And then did you buy some property right away here after going to the real estate Springfield Realtors Association?
No, I was a member for a while, and then eventually I was working at Lowe's. I'm a cashier.
Okay.
and one of the members came through the line.
Okay.
And I said, I've been reading these books.
Okay.
I've been looking at YouTube and blah, blah, blah. I said, I think I'm ready to start, but I'm scared.
Okay.
And he's like, there's nothing wrong. He said, if he wasn't scared, something wrong with you.
Right.
I said, can you help me out? He said, yeah, I'll help you out. So he was a realtor and a broker.
Okay.
So I latched on to him, and he said, just buy a house.
Okay.
That's how you get started. And you all read all the books in the world, but you got to buy a house.
Right.
And and so he sent his associate to show me around. I said, no, I want you.
Okay.
And then when I was thinking about it the other day, I think I only looked at one house, my first house.
And you bought it?
And I bought it.
Really?
Yeah, I bought it. Okay. It was good to me.
Okay.
So I bought it, and he was just basically like, if you need anything, call me.
Okay.
So I'm the one that got the house together. I'm the one that got my renter.
Okay.
But if I was to do it over again, I would suggest have somebody kind of with them to screen. Mm-hmm. And I was just like, how I'm looking. Mm-hmm. He was like, you're doing good. Mm-hmm. Okay. So I just kind of like, almost kind of thrown out there.
Okay.
But I was so determined to do it that, you know.
Do you still have that piece of property?
Yeah, that's the house I'm working on now.
Really?
That's the house I'm working on now. Mm-hmm, my first house.
So you said I know you said you was looking at YouTube. You said you was reading books. Was it books that you got from the library, or was it some other books that you found?
I found, first I went through, I got online, and I first was looking at Kawasaki, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and I bought some of his books.
Okay.
And then I was looking at his real estate program. Okay. And I was like, I don't know. I can't relate to these people. Okay. You know, I need somebody like in person, because they tell you anything, hype you up, you buy all this more information, and you don't use it up. So I went from him to Bigger Pockets.
Okay.
And then I got into Bigger Pockets, got on their platform, learned a lot, bought the host, I bought his book.
Okay.
And then I learned about Lisa Phillips. Okay. Are you familiar with her? That's how I found out about Lisa Phillips. I bought her book, or did I do something online? I can't remember. But anyway, she's the one that introduced me that was more realistic. Okay. So I attached to her. Okay. She was like, hey, you can buy homes for under $30,000 and in a working class neighborhood. And then it started sinking in, okay. Because when I went to a bank and it was like, oh, we don't give no loans for $30,000 under. You got to do more, and that wasn't true. Matter of fact, they went out of business. So I latched on to her information, and then that's when I started, looking at houses in working class neighborhoods. I bought my first class.
It's funny that you mentioned Lisa Phillips, and she's like the first Black person that I've seen that was down to earth. I remember it looked like she had a bookcase or something when she was like on YouTube.
Right.
And I would just be like, okay, really, girl, this how you do it.
Right.
So I was watching her before I even knew about Bigger Pockets. And so when I'm listening to her, and she does make it more relatable. She also lets you know, okay, she guided you through the steps. And it was actually even before she really came out with a whole series of, okay, you can buy her books and stuff like that. She was just providing the information, trying to coach people, okay, you can buy property too, right?
Right.
And so it was amazing seeing her just provide that information and the face being familiar.
Right.
Yeah, the face being familiar. So yeah, I remember that.
I felt comfortable with her.
Right. So tell me this, when you bought the property, you got into real estate investing, it was your first piece of property, and did you feel, I know you said you was a little nervous, and you feel like you needed somebody to kind of, I guess, walk you through it, be there side by side. Do you feel like you left anything behind? Do you feel like you wasn't able to pay attention to some of the details that a career person in real estate investing, even though you had read the books and you watched a lot of the YouTubes, do you feel like you left anything behind? Or because I know you said, okay, I would tell somebody today, look, have somebody walk you hand in hand. So it kind of explained that to me.
Just somebody that's physically there, or somehow they can like screening is real important.
Okay.
And I did the best I could. My first tenant, he didn't last a month and just moved out.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, left the house spotless, but left a lot of holes in my wall to hanging up pictures.
Oh, okay. And what now? A month? But a month?
Yeah, he just stayed. Yeah, he was living with his brother, and I'm like, you know.
Okay.
So my first two tenants or three tenants, it took me to finally get better, tighten up on my
Screening
screening.
process.
Mm.
Okay. So, was there any other career paths that you wanted to pursue, or that you were pursuing as you got into real estate before you got into real estate?
No, not really.
Okay.
I was just kind of existing.
Okay. Okay.
Just come home, take care of my dad. I was working at the Red Roof Inn
Okay.
as a hotel worker,
Okay.
like housekeeper.
Okay.
And then from housekeeping, I went to laundry.
Okay.
So just existing, just working,
Okay.
not really.
You mentioned, okay, you worked at Red Roof Inn, and you also mentioned that you currently work at Lowe's.
Mhm.
When you was in Atlanta, you were doing what?
I was a food server.
Okay, okay.
Mhm.
So I'm tying this all together, and I don't know if you've looked at it this way. So working at Red Roof Inn, you know what housekeeping look like. You know what a clean room look like. You know, working at Lowe's, the things that you need. Do you see it as a way that a higher power, some people call it God, what you know, however you choose to define it, but do you feel like it all brought you together to prepare you for what you're doing now? I mean, because housekeeping, you can walk into a room, and if it's okay, what they did last night, you know, and some of those things kind of tie into, as I mentioned to you before, you can tell if somebody cleaned the day of, or if they're clean people, you know, because they miss spots. And now I know when you're talking about housekeeping, you can look and see, okay, did the last housekeeper really do a good job, or did they leave this mess for me? You know, so like even with working with Lowe's, it has gotten you the connections to be able to meet people.
Exactly.
And some people don't. You know, I'm just trying to tie those things into it.
Right.
You may not have been, you said, okay, basically I was just existing, but you was actually moving towards the career path or entrepreneurship or real estate investing, even when you didn't even recognize it.
No, I didn't look at it that way.
Okay.
But my dad, when he was alive, he had this little club he'd go to, and I met a guy, and he started talking about real estate.
Okay.
And that's, like I said, that's kind of, you know, but it didn't go anywhere with him. He showed me around his little houses. They were all on the east side and stuff. And I was like, oh, that's great. You know, come full circle. He come to me for advice now. He's
been in there longer than
I have.
Right.
Yeah, and a lot of people have been in for years. They'll come in, hey, Yvonne, can you tell me? I'm like, I'm going to be asking you.
Okay.
But no, I didn't look at it as a full circle. It was just one of those things where somebody would come through my line, I would pounce. Like my best friend, Trina, she came through my line. She was a member, but I never really talked to them when they came through my line. All of a sudden, I don't know what I said to her, but we've been friends for years, and she's almost like a mentor to me.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she has like 20 bunch of houses, 20 something. Yeah, she fired. And she started out at that housing, just like you worked at the housing, right? She started at the housing. She said she started seeing them checks. It was like,
yeah, that I will tell you. I am an investor that personally feel like you want to be mindful of the tenants that you get, right? Because you got some investors that's like slumlords,
right,
you know.
Right.
But you want to be mindful of the tenants that you get. But I can tell you, working at housing taught me, even when buying my own property, to my own home to live in, to be mindful of the streets, the cracks in the street. That lets you know if the city takes care of the community. That lets you know if the city takes care of the city. You know, if the trash cans are out there, you can the length of the grass. Those type of things were valuable to me. At that time, I had property already, but at that time I was not thinking about those type of things, like, okay, the city streets, I would just buy some property, right? Or I'll buy something that I know I want to live in a nice area. So it wasn't, I didn't think about, okay, if the streets is bad, and I'm from Chicago, and we have snow, right? And this is Springfield, Illinois, so there's snow, but you don't think the streets are not as bad here as they are in Chicago, where there's millions of residents, where here's over 100 and something thousand.
Right.
So that wear and tear on the streets, the city coming by, and you got your car just went in a pothole, and they like, well, I'm sorry. Send your message to the city,
right?
Not me, So those are things that I will say that I learned from working from the housing authority, working with the housing authority, and I've never had a Section 8 tenant or anything like that, but it was very valuable. It taught me a lot, and those are the things that some people don't recognize, that you need everything that I'm going through in life. I have been taught something along the way, something along the way that has gotten me to where I'm at today, that I'm able to make sure that, okay, my tenant, we talked about tenants, and you said the guy was only there a month and he already got holes in the wall. So then you have that choice of saying, okay, look, next tenant, I don't know if I'm going to be allowing you to put stuff up, or else you're gonna have to pay for it. And the other thing is, sometimes the deposit is not enough.
Right, exactly.
So sometimes with the deposit not being enough, then you're sitting there like, okay, well, what am I?
And mentioning the deposit, I've been thinking about trying to figure out how to increase the deposit. Yeah, there's landlords out there that
ask for double.
Yeah, or increase some kind of way where they. Yeah. Because if something happens and you they want you to take it out the deposit. It's like, no, you gotta.
Yeah. It sucks, because I had my own experience with my first tenant at the property, one of the properties I have here. And she was a church lady. She was an evangelist. She left my house with broken windows and garbage outside. Her deposit did not cover it. Let's just go there.
Wow.
So moving forward to just talking about some of the things that happen, okay? Like the walls, her not leaving the garbage, broken glasses and stuff. What fears crossed your mind when you walked into this path? Because sometimes you hear stories like, oh no, don't take that Section 8 tenant, or no, they tear up your house. I ain't got time to be no landlord. You hear those constant reminders of the negativity. There's people who speak of the positivity, and normally positivity is money, but they don't speak on the bad things. And when you do hear the people who speak on the bad situations that can occur, did any of those cross your mind? And how did you get over those fears?
I didn't really have a particular fear of anything particular.
Okay.
It was just the process.
Okay.
I was kind of nervous about, screening.
Okay.
But it was nothing particular that I was afraid of.
Okay.
And one of the questions you said, like, what was it? Like something about, you said about expectations. I said something about, I didn't really worry about anything unexpected, because I knew something would come up. Because with real estate, you always learn something.
So were you prepared for the negatives that could possibly occur?
No, not really. Okay. But I learned from it.
Okay. What did you learn from it?
You had to how to speak up for yourself. Sometimes those tenants can be intimidating when you first start out. Like my first house, my first tenant, she was sassy.
So tell me, go a little more in depth about a sassy tenant or speaking up for yourself.
Right.
Tell me a little bit more about that.
She was just like really demanding.
Okay.
And somebody had broke into the garage and tore a car up. And I went in there and I fixed the door and everything. And then she did some repairs without telling me.
Okay.
I didn't say anything. And then she would just kind of get smart when she was talking to me. I was like, what is this? And I just kind of stayed kind of mum about it.
Okay.
But as I became more experienced, I'm like, no, we need to have a conversation. Okay. There's no need to speak that way. So now I'm a little bit more assertive.
Okay.
And so assertive. One time my brother jumped out, came out the room like, "Who are you talking to? I never heard you talk to anybody like that."
Okay.
Yeah, it was a guy, and I had to like really assert myself. I'm like, well, if you don't like this place, why did you rent from me? So after a while, he's like, okay, then he starts straightening it up, and so yeah.
Yeah. And you brought up first it was a woman, but sometimes those men can try to be intimidated because you're a woman in power, basically. I hold the roof over your head when I go down to it. Even with contractors, this is really a man's game. It really is. Yeah. It's a man's game. And even when you go to those realtors association, you see more men in the house than you see women.
Exactly.
And it's almost like, and they have like Black Women's Realtors Association and things like that. But I've attended them, but I feel like with the men, sometimes the men give you more information than some of the women will. They'll hold things back. You got a good, you know somebody who do roofing, right? And then they'll be like, oh girl, no, he working on my property right now, so I don't have nobody, Whereas I found that the men will, okay, hold on, I got a couple of people. I got one working on my property, but I know a couple of people that do roof. And so it can, in regards to that part, you can grow. But when it comes down to a contractor coming out to you, sometimes it's more or less like he gonna give you a high number. You gotta know, you have to be educated in the field.
Absolutely.
You really have to be educated in the field, and it's not something you can't kind of learn it on the way. You do need a mentor, but you may have a few bumps and bruises.
Right, absolutely. And now that you mentioned that about women, I saw the first Black woman I had approached. I went to the business thing, how to start a business in Springfield, the Chamber of Commerce. It was me and this other Black woman. And when she told me she was an investor, I got all excited. I said, can I record this meeting if you don't mind? Yes, I do mind. I was like, okay. I turned it off or something. After the meeting, how to start a business, what's your mission statement, all that. When we left, I jumped up and went up to her and said, you think you could, help me and give me some information? She was like, of course. Gave me her phone number, honey. When I called her, she never answered the phone.
Oh, wow.
Left a message. I know her name too.
Okay.
But her name was Brenda.
Don't tell the tea. Okay.
But yeah, she didn't.
Okay.
Because when she mentioned, she said, yeah, I have tenants. All I tell them is, if something breaks down, please let me know, blah, blah, blah. And I was just really excited about her. Because this is like in the flesh, somebody that does this. But she didn't. She wasn't sharing nothing. She wasn't calling me back or anything.
So that was an experience. Not all women, because I'm gonna tell you, I met Yvonne at Lowe's one day when I was doing some work on my property. So
she came through my office. That's my office.
So I mean, when it boiled down to it, not all women don't share. I've called her and like, okay, tell me how you do this. Who you got?
And some people tell me that they say, well, we don't share because if you do, sometimes that person might take over your worker.
Okay.
And that's why, that's why they might get real stingy or possessive over their worker. But I'm like, first of all, I don't have enough properties to sit there and try to be all, oh no, this is my guy. I was like, and then he got to work too.
Right.
He needs to make money.
Right. So you're taking money out of somebody else's pocket because of your selfishness.
Right. Now, however, my contractor I have now is going to be working on my house. I said, I'm going to give you some resources, other people that are interested. I told them about you.
Okay.
I said, but remember, I'm first because I got my property. He said, okay, don't worry about it. I just let him know. I said, hey, I don't want them to snatch him up and then I'm still waiting and waiting. Well, I got no. So I had to.
Okay. Is that the guy that
Andy? Yeah.
I had Handy Andy and we didn't get our work done. It was on me. It had nothing to do with Yvonne and didn't have nothing to do with Andy. But I need him today. So when he finished with your property, I do need some work.
Yeah.
But see, that's how we share, I will say that. That's how we share. It shouldn't be a secret society. We should be helping each other, especially when you see another Black woman. We really should be helping each other. And I think that's how we grow. If you know somebody who's selling some property and okay, might be I'm not ready to buy another piece of property, but I know somebody else who might be interested. What's wrong with letting somebody else know?
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
I understand that. I respect that, and I'm grateful for that.
Mm-hmm.
And the other part is I don't live in Springfield. I don't live in Illinois anymore. So with me not living here, it's good to be able to know people who are in the game, right?
Absolutely.
So even though I lived here for a long time, but knowing other people that's in the game, it allows you to still, they're fresh on the people. So if, let's say you hire somebody, a contractor, and they're not a good contractor, you can say, okay, girl, look, I did some work with him and he ain't all that good. You be taking your chances if you take them, but you know,
Right.
This is the experience I had.
Right.
If for me who live in Texas, I wouldn't know if this contractor wasn't good, you know. So, excuse me. So that is important to be able to share, because if I'm not abreast on who's good and who's bad, I may come across the bad person, and I'm not, and especially if I'm the type of person that keep things to myself or don't talk. That's why I think is a real big problem when you have women or just investors in general that kind of keep people under their wings. Like, no, I don't have any. I don't want you to take him. Or
right. And I had a friend that when she wanted to break in, mm-hmm. she was real worried about contractors. Mm-hmm. I said, no, don't worry about them. I said, if you need anybody, just let me know.
Okay.
And I'll find somebody. But.
Okay. And then you got all the information from working at Lowe's.
Yeah.
So tell me this about your first property. How did you purchase it? How did you invest in it? I know that you had, got your first tenant. How did you find your first tenant? So it's a 3-part question, basically. How did you fund the first property?
Somebody told me about Warren and Boynton. So I went to them.
Okay.
And I just went forward, just applied. They gave them all the things they wanted. Okay. Got a good interest rate.
Okay.
Fannie Mae.
Okay.
And he said, I don't even know how you got that. He said, don't ever sell that property. So I really got a good deal on it. What else? And my first tenant, I can't remember. I think I put an ad out. It could have been through Marketplace. Oh, I had a sign out too.
Okay.
I don't do signs anymore.
Okay.
Do you?
No.
I don't do.
Never have.
It's probably through a rental sign. And this guy, he was a single father, and I was like, oh. I was more of an emotional thing than a business thing. It's like, oh, he's a single father. I'm gonna try to help him out. Mm-hmm. Instead of, one red flag was he was living with his brother, so I didn't know any information on standing on his own 2 feet.
Right.
So he said, oh, I work at the SIU, but the UIS at the university. Okay. I did call his boss. I said, yeah, he works here. So then
slumlords.
Right.
Right. But you want to be mindful of the tenants that you get.
But you just got in here.
Right.
So yeah, I found him through my sign.
Okay.
And I didn't do a good, thorough background check, but it could have been worse.
Right. It definitely could. He was there for just a month.
Mm-hmm. And after that, it's basically Marketplace.
Okay. What were some of the unexpected challenges that came across?
Unexpected challenges. You just got in here.
Right.
So yeah, I found him through my sign.
Okay.
And I didn't do a good, thorough background check, but it could have been worse.
Right.
I just was able to go through it. It's just kind of hard to explain.
Like early in your journey.
But one unexpected challenge was, and this is a lesson I learned from it, when the tenant was like, I'm going to be late and I'll pay you like 2 weeks later. Mm-hmm. That was unexpected. Okay. And I didn't know how to handle it. I was like, okay, do I just wait? Mm-hmm. So finally I told a friend, she's no, you give her a notice. Uh-huh. Yeah. You give her a 5-day notice. I'm like, okay.
Yeah. So you learned from another real estate investor that said you start giving notices. So what is your notice? When do you start issuing out a notice?
After 5 days. Well, after 5 to 7 days.
Okay.
And another unexpected thing that happened to me was I was going to buy a property from a lady I knew. Mm-hmm. went to the gym, and I didn't have a car. I used to walk everywhere.
Okay.
She would drop me off at home, and I told her, I said, I'm going to buy me a rental property.
Mm-hmm.
She was like, well, you could have bought one of mine. I said, oh, really? She said, yeah, I'm gonna sell my house and blah, blah. I said, well, okay, I'll look at it. You just got in here.
Right.
So, yeah, I found him through my sign.
Okay.
And I didn't do a good, thorough background check, but it could have been worse.
Right. It definitely could. He was there for just a month.
Mm-hmm. And after that, it's basically marketplace.
Okay. What were some of the unexpected challenges that came across?
Unexpected challenges.
With just being a real estate investor with your first property, or just unexpected challenges in getting contractors, or any of those things that you may have occurred?
Oh, I get a lot of unexpected stuff. I just was able to go through it. It's just kind of hard to explain.
Like early in your journey, what?
I can't really think of it because so many things are.
How about when you said that he said he had a rent money? That means you got to pay the mortgage. That's an unexpected challenge. How did you handle that?
I can't remember. But one unexpected challenge was, and this is a lesson I learned from it, when the tenant was like, I'm going to be late and I'll pay you like 2 weeks later. Mm-hmm. That was unexpected. Okay. And I didn't know how to handle it. I was like, okay, do I just wait? Mm-hmm. So finally I told a friend, she's, no, you give her a notice. Uh-huh. Yeah. You give her a 5-day notice. I'm like, okay.
Yeah. So you learned from another real estate investor that said you start giving notices. So what is your notice? When do you start issuing out a notice?
After 5 days. Well, between after 5 to 7 days. Okay. And another unexpected thing that happened to me was I was going to buy a property from a lady I knew. Mm-hmm. Went to the gym, and I didn't have a car. I used to walk everywhere. She would drop me off at home, and I told her, I said, I'm going to buy me a rental property. Mm-hmm. She was like, well, you could have bought one of mine. I said, oh, really? She said, yeah, I'm gonna sell my house and blah, blah. I said, well, okay, I'll look at your house. Mm-hmm. And I said, hey, I'm interested in buying your house. So I went to another friend. I said, she's such a nice lady. Should I do a deed search? He said, of course. Mm-hmm. I'm like, okay, okay. So when I told her that, it shocked her. Okay. She said, a deed search? What you want to do that for? Mm-hmm. She said, I can do it. I was like, no. My friend said, I need to do this deed search. So I'm you just got in here. Right. So, yeah, I found him through my sign. Okay. And I didn't do a good, thorough background check, but it could have been worse.
Right. It definitely could. He was there for just a month.
Mm-hmm. And after that, it's basically marketplace.
Okay. What were some of the unexpected challenges that came across?
Unexpected challenges.
With just being a real estate investor with your first property, or just unexpected challenges in getting contractors, or any of those things that you may have occurred?
Oh, I get a lot of unexpected stuff. I just was able to go through it. Are you sure that
what you gonna do, sir?
So then he was like, okay, she got me and stuff. Okay. So
he worked with you?
He said he got me and stuff. And so he was like, oh my God, you are so intelligent, blah, 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 trying to blow smoke up me and stuff like that. He didn't own that house. He didn't own it. And so that's how I learned how to look up stuff.
But just imagine if you'd have bought the house, or tried to buy the house and went through all this process. I know one investor who does cash, and she's a female, and something she don't do. And I just say, be careful. But I will say this. Her ex-husband is in a real estate game, and he buys properties, flips them, and he's been doing it for years. So he has taught her, okay, do this, do that, and stuff like that. So she does well for herself, but you still have to be mindful of those things. Yeah, you could pay cash, for some properties, but if you don't look it up, you don't research it, then you out of luck sometimes.
Right.
Yeah, and out of money.
Right. So you just got in here.
Right.
So, yeah, I found him through my sign. Okay. And I didn't do a good, thorough. You just got in here.
Right.
So yeah, I found him through my sign,
Okay.
and I didn't do a good, thorough background check, but
Okay.
it could have been worse.
All right. It definitely could. He was there for just a month.
And after that, it's basically marketplace.
Okay. What were some of the unexpected challenges that came across
Unexpected challenges.
with just being a real estate investor with your first property, or just unexpected challenges in getting contractors, or any of those things that you may have occurred?
Oh, I get a lot of unexpected stuff. I just was able to go through it. It's just kind of hard to explain.
Like early in your journey, what?
I can't really think of it because so many things are.
How about when you said that he said he had a rent money? That means you got to pay the mortgage. That's an unexpected challenge. How did you handle that?
I can't remember. But one unexpected challenge was, and this is a lesson I learned from it, when the tenant was like, "I'm going to be late, and I'll pay you like 2 weeks later."
Mm-hmm.
That was unexpected,
Okay.
and I didn't know how to handle it. I was like, "Okay, do I just wait?" So finally, I told a friend. She's, "No, you give her a notice.
Yeah.
You give her a 5-day notice." I'm like, "Okay."
Yeah. So you learned from another real estate investor that said you start giving notices. So what is your notice? When do you start issuing out a notice?
After 5 days. Well,
Okay.
between after 5 to 7 days.
Okay. Okay.
And another unexpected thing that happened to me was I was going to buy a property from a lady I knew.
Mm-hmm.
Went to the gym, and I didn't have a car. I used to walk everywhere.
Okay.
She would drop me off at home, and I told her, I said, "I'm going to buy me a rental property."
Mm-hmm.
She was like, "Well, you could have bought one of mine." I said, "Oh, really?" She said, "Yeah, I'm gonna sell my house and blah blah." I said, "Well, okay, I'll look at your house." And I said, "Hey, I'm interested in buying your house." So I went to another friend. I said, "She's such a nice lady. Should I do a deed search?" He said, "Of course." I'm like, "Okay, okay." So when I told her that, that was a mistake. But it was like,
so as a woman, we get a little emotional about things. Have you had some emotional ups and downs in real estate that made you maybe even want to walk away from real estate?
"You just got in here."
Right.
So yeah, I found him through my sign,
Okay.
and I didn't do. You just got in here.
Right.
So yeah, I found him through my sign,
Okay.
and I didn't do a good, thorough background check, but it could have been worse.
All right. It definitely could. He was there for just a month.
And after that, it's basically marketplace.
Okay. What were some of the unexpected challenges that came across?
Unexpected challenges. Screening.
Mm-hmm.
I immediately go to. You just got in here.
Right.
So yeah, I found him through my sign. You just got in here.
Right.
So yeah, I found him through my sign,
Okay.
and you just got in here.
Right.
So yeah, I found him through my sign,
Okay.
and I didn't do a good, thorough background check, but it could have been worse.
All right. It definitely could. He was there for just a month.
And after that, it's basically marketplace.
Okay. What were some of the unexpected challenges that came across
Unexpected challenges.
with just being a real estate investor with your first property, or just unexpected challenges in getting contractors, or any of those things that you may have occurred?
Oh, I get a lot of unexpected stuff. I just was able to go through it. It's just kind of hard to explain.
Like early in your journey, what?
I can't really think of it because so many things are.
How about when you said that he said he had a rent money? That means you got to pay the mortgage. That's an unexpected challenge. How did you handle that?
I can't remember. But one unexpected challenge was, and this is a lesson I learned from it, when the tenant was like, "I'm going to be late, and I'll pay you like 2 weeks later." That was unexpected.
Okay.
And I didn't know how to handle it. I was like, "Okay, do I just wait?" So finally, I told a friend. She's, "No, you give her a notice.
Yeah.
You give her a 5-day notice." I'm like, "Okay."
Yeah. So you learned from somebody, another real estate
Yeah.
investor that said you start giving notices. So what is your notice? When do you start issuing out a notice?
After 5 days. Well,
Okay.
between after 5 to 7 days.
Okay. Okay.
And another unexpected thing that happened to me was I was going to buy a property from a lady I knew.
Mm-hmm.
Went to the gym, and I didn't have a car. I used to walk everywhere.
Okay.
She would drop me off at home. And I told her, I said, I'm going to buy me a rental property.
Mm-hmm.
She was like, well, you could have bought one of mine. I said, oh, really? She said, yeah, I'm gonna sell my house and blah, blah. I said, well, okay, I'll look at your house.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, hey, I'm interested in buying your house. So I went to another friend. I said, she's such a nice lady. Should I do a deed search? He said, of course.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, okay, okay. So when I told her that, it shocked her.
Okay.
She's like, a deed search? What you want to do that for? She said, I can do it. I was like, no. My friend said I need to do this deed search, so I'm going to do it. I never really thought about, as a, because like I said, it's so kind of lonely being a black woman. Because my good friend she's white,
Okay.
so I really haven't connected with a lot of black women. There's a couple of them.
But why do you think it's important for you to be at a seat at the table, being at those meetings?
Sir, but I mean, why not?
Okay. Well, the other thing about being at that table is information, especially when you're the only face, you're the only one there. It allows you to hear everything that's going on, right? And you can take that same information and spread it to another person. Because I can tell you, when I went to the Springfield Realtors Association meeting, there was a few black people there, right? It was male and female. But I also came with 2 other people too, who I had invited them because they wanted to get into real estate. They owned their home, but they wanted to get into real estate. And so I was like, well, this is the first time I've ever gone. And that was while I was living in Texas. So I thought that being there was important because there was things that I didn't know. There was connections that I could have, if I'd have did it before I moved, or just being away for the past almost nearly 13 years, I would have been able to have contractors that I didn't, buying a piece of property here and a contractor not doing me over.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
Because they would have been able to tell me, like we had mentioned before, oh, no, that girl, don't pick him.
Sir, but I mean, why not?
Okay. Well, the other thing about being right. So, what do you want your legacy to be? What is it that you hope to gain out of real estate? What's your ultimate goal?
My ultimate goal is just to live comfortably.
Okay.
And kind of have the freedom to do what I want.
Okay.
My goal is to travel a little bit and just not have to worry about things.
Okay.
I don't necessarily have to be a millionaire, but I just don't want to be a poor old woman.
Okay. I get it.
Yeah.
What advice would you give to another black woman who wants to start in real estate?
Sir, but I mean, why not?
Okay. Well, the other thing about being at that table is information, especially when you're the only face, you're the only one there. It allows you to hear everything that's going on, right? And you can take that same information and spread it to another person.
Upfront cost, responsibility, and all this and that. Only thing maybe was a lack of knowledge.
Okay.
I think maybe that, but I just kind of, how I mitigated was you kind of learned as you go along. Plus, prior, like reading the books, they were somewhat helpful.
You could kind of go back to a reference.
Right. Absolutely. And like join a association if you can, and there you can just meet people. Okay. And you got to speak up and ask for help.
Okay.
And I've given people advice, but only those, if you're real serious, those are the ones who will kind of stick with me. But I've tried to give this one woman advice. Her daughter wanted to get into it. Okay. And I think I was a little bit too blunt because the lady was like, yeah, we were looking at properties, but I was telling her, nah, this, nah, that. I said, you know what? You need to get out of her way. Get out of her way.
Especially if you've never done it before.
Right. I said, get out of her way. I said, tell her, contact me. I said, I'm on Facebook.
Okay.
Never heard from them.
Okay.
I mean.
Well, you know what? You threw out the information.
Right. I said, I'll
either
help her.
She catch it, right? And that, I love the fact that you was like, I'll help her, right? You want to see another person succeed, right?
Right.
And sometimes it's the crab in the crab barrel. I hate to say it, but this is how I feel. Like her mom was the crab in the crab barrel, pulling her back down. If you've never done it, don't talk your child out of it.
Yeah,
you know?
She's like, oh no, you looking at that house? Oh no. I was like, oh my God. I said, so the daughter was looking at for her mom for validation. I said, she's not gonna get it with you.
Right.
I'm probably talking about me.
Okay, so tell me this one last thing. What is like an affirmation or a mantra that you use in being a real estate investor? What do you wake up and hope to see or speak into yourself to make sure that you stay on the right track or obtain the goal that you said, I don't want to be a lonely old broke woman, basically? What's do you have a mantra? Do you have affirmations that you use?
Sir, but I mean, why not?
Okay. Well, the other thing about being at that table is information, especially when you're the only face, you're the only one there. It allows you to hear everything that's going on, right? And you can take that same information and spread it to another person. Because I can tell you, when I went to the Springfield Realtors Association meeting, there was a few Black people there, right? It was male and female. But I also came with 2 other people too, who I had invited them because they wanted to get into real estate. They owned their home, but they wanted to get into real estate. And so I was like, well, this is the first time I've ever gone. And that was while I was living in Texas. So
talking big and doing something is one thing, but executing is another.
Right.
And I think what really set me on fire to go was a lot of people doubted me.
Okay.
And they'll say things like, oh, you just talking. You just talking. You ain't gonna do nothing.
Okay.
And they would say, oh, you're too old.
Okay.
You ain't got no money.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
You ain't got no money. Who do you think you are? I was like,
watch me.
Exactly. It was like, really? You don't think I can do this? I said, okay. They would call me once a week. Did you buy anything yet?
Oh, that was the crab in the crab barrel.
Did you buy anything yet?
Okay.
And I guess it was really probably not about me. It was their own fears that they were projecting. It's like a person, I guess, that say they want to join the circus, and you be like, crazy, join the circus. And they're really serious.
Right.
And they're really serious. They want to go to clown school
and
everything. People like that, oh, you're stupid, and
you're not even funny.
Yeah, I don't think you can do it.
They'll believe in you.
Right.
But you have to believe in yourself.
Exactly.
And just trust this is the path that I'm meant to go down. Right. And if I fail,
so fail. What?
It's on me. This is my life. I tell people all the time, it's like, you only got one life. And enjoy it and do what you want to do.
And I feel like I didn't have nothing to lose.
Right.
I didn't have a big job, making a lot of money, and doing good where it kind of, oh my God. I didn't have nothing to lose. I'm a housekeeper. I'm just going to try this and just give it a shot.
One thing you could go back to housekeeping if it didn't work. Right?
Exactly. Okay. And another thing too, I'm not the first person in my family that tried real estate. It's just my grandfather.
Okay.
Who was uneducated. He couldn't read. He couldn't write. He bought a couple of houses that on the same street that I live right now.
Okay.
And my brother told me that he wanted to buy the whole block. But my grandmother and my mother talked him out of it.
Really?
They were scared. Even though, and I was like, and I told my brothers, I said, they didn't support that man. Yeah. They didn't support his vision. Yeah. So what I'm doing is I'm taking up where he left off.
Okay, that's the legacy. Come on now.
Yeah,
Come
so,
on. Come
and
on.
it's just not something that's not talked
Yeah,
about.
yeah.
And I come like, what happened? What
Yeah.
happened to the house that Grandpa bought? One time I was sitting in it. He didn't own it anymore.
Okay.
A friend was renting it.
Oh, really?
It was Grandpa's house, and I wasn't even. I was so unaware.
Okay.
Like, I'm sitting here. My grandpa don't own this house anymore.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
That's something?
yeah. And then as I got older, I questioned my mom.
Okay.
She knew that day was coming.
Okay.
I said, "What happened to the house?" Oh, she started making all these excuses and stuff. Oh, I said, "What happened to Grandpa's house? Why did we keep him?"
Okay.
Oh, it was fear.
Sometimes, and that's what happens. Other people will stop you, or you tend to listen to them. Like you mentioned about, okay, it was his wife and his daughter who told him, "Don't do it. I don't think it's a good idea." You also mentioned that the young lady, her mama told her, "These are people that you listen to. These are people you trust." It's still a crab in a crab barrel. I still say that, but these are people you listen to. These people you trust, who probably have never done this before, or they're going to tell you, oh, they're going to go off of remarks someone else said. Oh, so and so, now they got a tenant, it ain't working, and now they ain't got no place to stay, and all these different things, the scare tactics, and they don't mean no harm. They do mean well by you.
I think so. They mean well,
but it's still a decision that you make based off of someone else's feelings and their fear, and that sometimes put you in a place where woulda, shoulda, coulda, right?
Exactly.
Or the fact that you were sitting in your grandpa's house.
And that's what I think what this woman's daughter's going to go through. She's saying, why didn't I take that leap of faith? Why couldn't I just kind of bypass my mom?
Yeah.
And that's why I basically telling her, the mother, I'm like,
you blocking her.
Let her make a mistake. Let her.
See, people look at mistakes as a final destination.
Right.
They don't think you can get back up from it.
Right.
I've had property and I've had experiences where I had a family member in the house and I'm paying the mortgage, but she ain't paying, and this is a 2-flat and she wasn't paying it. I was like, okay. And one of the challenges was she wasn't paying it, and then we in the same building, and she would talk to me like nothing ever happened, or she don't owe me some money. And when it got down to a point where it was like, okay, I can't do this, or she'd be like, I'm gonna give you the money. Okay, we on the 15th. The payment due on the 1st, at least not the 5th, And because she was family, I didn't, go to the extreme of, okay, you got to move or whatever. And I looked at it as like a family building, right? Even though it was under my name, I looked at it like a family building. And those are some of the mistakes that I've made. So to this day, I don't really rent the family. I stopped renting the family. The people that's renting my house is friends, but I don't rent the family. And I do separate. This is professional and this is personal. And I take a hat off when the personal relationship is no longer, not necessarily no longer existent. It's not working, or we're not in communication on personal. I don't want to talk about personal. I'm your landlord. And I come in like that. I've had experiences where it was almost about to be an encounter, something that I needed to do, and it was, but we was about to go hang out, and I was like, well, I don't want to mix business with pleasure, and we're real good friends, but I don't want to mix business with pleasure, but I want to conduct this business first, and then, or we can reschedule it. And then we can go do what we got to do, but this needs to be done, right? Because for one, I'm not going to talk about your business just because we friends and we have other friends. I'm not going to talk about your business with anybody. And it's not this. If you was meeting your other landlord, right, a landlord that you didn't know, you wouldn't be telling me, okay, Barbara, well, come walk around with me while the landlord doing the inspection, No, I would be like, I'm gonna wait in the car and I'll see you when everything is done. Those are things that you tend to, those are challenges that I experienced, that I had overcome, and I had to learn. You wear multiple hats. Look, I'm a mother, I'm a grandmother, I'm a sister, I'm a daughter, and those are 4 different hats that I don't treat my mama the same way I treat my grandbabies, you know,
Right.
or my daughter the same, my brothers, you know. It's a different hat. We all family, we all friends, but it's a different hat. And when it comes down to business, it's a different hat. And I'm real particular about my money.
Right.
I am a giver, but I'm very particular about my money. And I don't feel like I should have to come to you and say, excuse me, where's the rent?
Right. Absolutely.
As a friend, I'm gonna feel uncomfortable to have to ask you. So as a landlord, I'm gonna be like, okay, here's the notice. You can come to me and talk to me if you want. I can't bag back. I have on a different hat. I have on a landlord hat. So, and that would be for anybody, you know. If my parents was renting from me, it would have to be the same, right? These are things that sometimes it's difficult to distinguish. These are challenges that sometimes you look at it and like, okay, was I too mean? Or okay, now am I gonna lose this relationship and things like that? But it's a business.
Right. Absolutely.
And when it boiled down to it, this is my income. Not only is this my income, if anything happened with this property, it's my responsibility.
Absolutely.
And they ain't gonna take it away from you. They're gonna take it away from me, and you just gotta find you another place to stay. That's all that is for you. But for me, I gotta either foreclose on it, which messes up my credit, or either I got to pay the mortgage. So I'm real particular about those things. And those are some of the challenges for that I experienced, that I was like, okay, I got to get past this. You know?
Right. Absolutely.
I can't be nervous about it. You know, this is business. Maybe you have to move. Maybe I got to come in here and do a whole new remake, new kitchen. And
so did it work out with your family member, or did that person had to eventually leave?
She moved, and when she moved, the other part about her moving is because I looked at it like a family building. She had a relative. We had a gate that divided the houses on the block, or with the house next door, but we didn't have a door on the gate. So one of her relatives gave us a chain link door to go on the gate because it was a chain link fence, or what, you know, whatever, iron fence or whatever. When she left, she took the she took the door. Now, mind you ain't paid no rent.
Right.
You took the door. So it's like, okay. And that, as an exposure, I lost that property. Mm-hmm. And that taught me, you know, don't do it. Don't ever do that again.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I lost that property. That was the first property I bought, and I lost it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. It's okay. I mean, I also say you can rebound. I want people to recognize that just because you fall don't mean you can't get up. Just because you missed the opportunity don't mean you won't get another opportunity. That was an opportunity that I lost, but I ended up having another piece of property as well that I was a duplex that I was renting out. So I ended up moving out of that building and moving into my duplex. The tenant was moving anyway, and so I just moved into it. So I lost that property, but that was a learning experience.
Yes, that is.
I'll never do it again, you know. And I did a gut rehab in the kitchens and the bathrooms of that property. I love to decorate, so interior design and things like that. Those are things that I like to do. So for me, that was like, oh, I can get my hands dirty. I know how to do this work, you know, and I know I can make it beauty. So I didn't mind buying something that had been like foreclosed on and things like that. But to have something foreclosed on me, it's a whole different ballpark, you know, because I'm looking like, oh, look at the bathroom, look at the kitchen, I'm gonna lose it, you know.
Right. So
that was a beautiful, but girl.
So we had the same experience.
Okay.
That was my personal home. Foreclosed on. Okay. Yeah. And I think, and I don't really dwell on it too much because I didn't have the knowledge. If I had the knowledge now, I would still have that house. Right. I would have just rented it out.
Right.
But I remember trying to contact my realtor that I was having issues. She didn't call me back.
Really?
Yeah. I was like, can you help me maybe come up with some, so I almost became homeless.
Oh, really?
Yeah. If it wasn't for my dad.
Okay.
Asking me to come over to see about him and look after him.
But that wasn't the intentions.
You
got close to, but it wasn't the intention. It didn't happen. Did you become homeless?
Mm-mm.
You almost. You thought you was.
Yeah.
It was the fear.
Then the pride, and you know, tell them, oh man, I lost this house. I didn't tell anybody I lost the house for a long time.
Okay.
And then finally it was like, just
Who cares?
so what? You lost the house. So now I can come out and say it. But it was a lot of shame involved, losing that house.
Yeah. And that's normally the case. You embarrassed, it's like, okay. And then the other people that's looking for your downfall already anyway, sometimes those are the experience or the background noise. And it's like, okay, now where am I going?
And that's interesting you brought that. The lady I was telling you about, the grifter, she told me, you're going to fail. She said, you're going to fail. I was like, okay. All right.
That's what you think. You the grifter, but I'm going to fail.
Right.
Okay. Well, I want to thank you so much. I greatly appreciate it. This was a fantastic interview that I definitely wanted the audience of Girlfriend Hour with Dr. Grayson to know more about the importance of walking away. The series is Unbossed and Unbothered for a reason. The point of it is that you have the smarts. It's knowledge that you didn't even necessarily know, experiences that you go through that leads you to where you are today. You are able to take that. You have people around you, the importance of getting a mentor, the importance of looking at yourself and betting on yourself.
Right.
That's the point of Unbossed and Unbothered. And once again, I want to thank you for joining us, to telling your story.
It was a pleasure. It was a privilege that you invited me. I said, this lady, she's going to interview me.
Yeah, and you was nervous, but you did really well.
I did.
So I want to thank you.
Yeah. I'm glad I went through the questions to give it some thought. The black one to the table, I'm going to work on that because it's still a journey.
Okay.
Like I said, there's very few of us.
Right.
So
right.
I'm still working on it. So I can come back and tell you, or give you a more definite answer or more insight.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.